When telling interactive stories, a common resource is the implementation of forks, choices along the path chosen by the user. To simplify the production of this type of content, TilBuci uses a tool called Decision Flow, which we'll learn about in this video. Before we begin, how about checking out the example we'll use to break down this feature? Our example begins with a home screen with a title, a start button, and a warning about using target navigation. We'll use it to follow this example, navigating from a game controller. To learn more about target navigation and how to implement it, check out the reference video on this channel. Entering the story, we see the first few paragraphs and an arrow to continue reading. Moving forward, we see another section of text, and when we access the third section, we are faced with two options. This fork in the road is an example of the use of the Decision Flow tool, which we will see in detail in this video. For now, let's choose the second option. It seems we've reached a dead end in our story. We have the option to go back and check out the noise our character heard in the previous part of the story. Accessing this option, we see some more text, and as we continue, we arrive at a dialogue between the boy and a mysterious orange cat. This conversation was created with another tool available in TilBuci called Dialogue Creation. To learn more about it, access the video on this topic on this channel. After the conversation, the character decides to follow the cat to the wall, and upon arriving there, our example ends and we return to the initial screen. To begin, download the movie for this example from the website tilbuci.com.br and import it. To do this, simply access the Exchange left menu, click on Import a movie and upload the zip file. After importing, open the movie and access the home scene. This scene has only one keyframe and 4 instances: a background image, a logo, a start button, and a message about how to activate navigation via target. Speaking of which, let's check how the target image is configured in this case. Access the left menu Contraptions and click on Targets. Notice that we only have one configured template, called Default. In addition to the default image, this target has images to be displayed when it hovers over a menu, which includes the buttons of the Decision Flow tool, and also when it hovers over instances whose name begins with click. Checking the movie properties, in the Input tab we see that the behavior of clicking the second joystick button, or the Enter key, has been changed from the default to an action snippet. If we check this action snippet called Toggle Target, we will see 2 actions. The first is to enable the target called Default, and the second is to display it, or hide it if it is active. Let's check the actions of clicking the Start button. The first action starts displaying a background image called Page BG, and the second loads the scene called Scene A. TilBuci has a contraption for setting background images. In the left menu, under Contraptions, click on Backgrounds. Notice that we created a background with the name Page BG. Let's now open Scene A. Notice that this is a scene with 3 keyframes. Access the properties of this scene from the left menu. Note that this is a static scene. Therefore, the keyframes are not automatically played when it is loaded. Returning to the scene editing, we see that the first keyframe has 4 instances: the text, the illustration, the arrow to advance, and the background image of our home screen. Move down the screen to generate the movement effect we saw when testing our example. Notice that the arrow instance name starts with click, to ensure the visual change in the target when it hovers over it. Checking the arrow's actions, we see that it simply opens the next keyframe of the scene. The black background without an image will receive the contraption that we activated before loading this scene. The second keyframe has a similar structure. Note that in this example we place the text of our content directly into the scene. However, for larger productions this can make editing and reviewing more difficult. To solve this issue, TilBuci has a string files feature. To learn more about it, check out the video on the dialogue creation tool on this channel, where we see how to load text from these files. In the third keyframe of the scene, we only see the text. But if we remember when we saw our example in operation, we know that two buttons appeared here, each with an option. This is where the Decision Flow tool comes in. In the left menu under Scene, click on Decision Flow. In this window, we can set the options for each scene. To do this, we indicate the button text and also the scene that will be opened on click. The buttons will appear when the scene reaches the last keyframe, and will remain visible until one of them is clicked, even if the animation causes the scene to reload other keyframes. To adjust the button display, such as the graphic used, the text font and their position, access the Narrative left menu and click on Decision Flow. The first tab in this window allows us to set these display details. The button text will always be displayed centered both horizontally and vertically over the chosen image. The second tab in this window will show all the movie scenes that have at least one Decision Flow option. By clicking on the scene name, we see the options it offers. From this tab, we can open both the original scene and those linked to the options. Let's check out Scene B from our movie. The first keyframe has a very similar structure to the first one in Scene A, but note that there's a difference in the action of clicking the right arrow. Here, we'll load the information from a dialog group and, once loaded, display the conversation in the next keyframe. To learn more about the dialog creation tool, check out the corresponding video on this channel. But let's take a quick look at how this was adjusted in our example. To do this, access the left menu Narrative and click on Dialogues. There is only one dialog group in our example, called Page B. When we load it, we see that there is only one dialog in it, called Igor in Orange. When we check the properties of this dialog, we see the names of the instances used in our scene, and also the lines of text of the conversation, with indications of the characters and images to be displayed. When examining the second keyframe, we see the instances that will be used by the dialog tool to display the conversation. Note that the arrow to advance the lines of text and the one for the end, which loads the next keyframe, have the same image and are superimposed. Thus, when the dialog text ends, the change becomes imperceptible. Also note an empty instance that will be used to display the character images. The last keyframe contains only text, and will display the single option set in the decision flow of this scene. Scenes C and D are very similar and only have one keyframe, in addition to an option set as decision flow. With that, we have finished reviewing the content of our example. In this video, we learn a bit about TilBuci's Decision Flow tool. This feature, along with others such as dialog configuration, target-based navigation, and the use of string files, helps simplify the creation of immersive interactive stories, even with large amounts of text or translations. Check out the other videos on this channel to learn more about TilBuci, a free, open-source tool for creating interactive content.